So there's this new up-and-coming band on the scene, Bridges Ablaze, that I just reacted to a few days ago. Go check it out if you missed it. Mandatory listening for sure, it's awesome. Now, for my second time hearing these guys, I'll be checking out their cover of The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars. Look, this song has been covered a lot of times by a lot of artists, and I'm not going to hold back when it comes to my thoughts and opinions about it. That being said, I'm going in with an open mind and high hopes, so let's see if they do justice to this classic 2000 song. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on socials by clicking the Linktree link in the description below. And if you want to be really awesome, support me on Patreon, also linked down in the description. Alright, keeping the intro short and the reactions real and thorough. Bridges Ablaze, The Kill, 30 Seconds to Mars cover, including the official music video. Let's see how this is, guys. Let's check it out. I really like the original LA, so I hope they do a good version of this. Okay, two things right off the bat. One is that the drum beats are very high in the mix on this song. Like way more so than on their original song, Hellbent. I don't know how I feel about that so far. It's just interesting. I'll just put it that way. I don't really have an opinion on it other than that at this point. The second thing I want to point out is that the vocalist, there's two vocalists, but Brian, who is singing right now, so far, he seems like he's using his usual style that I heard on their other song. He's not trying to imitate Jared Leto's particular way of singing. Because Jared Leto is, in my opinion, one of those iconic vocalists who has a signature style that once you hear it, you kind of know it's him. So I like that they're trying to just go with the flow and do their own thing and be themselves and not try and exactly mimic his particular way of singing. We're off to an interesting start. We're only 30 seconds in, so let's see where it goes from here. Okay, I like that Brainless voice there. Heavier guitar too. Good thing so far. Okay, I gotta comment on the guitar work, because I'm getting like almost djenty vibes from it. Like, it's probably owed to the fact that the guitar has a lower tuning on this version. Like on the original, I remember the guitar being much higher sounding, like much more squealy, if I'm remembering the original correctly. So I like the heavier quality to this, I do. It's a little bit heavier in a nuanced kind of way, without making it overtly heavy in a way that would feel like it's too much of a distraction or too much of a divergence from the original. So that's one good thing so far. And there was one other thing I wanted to comment on, and now I've lost it now. The thought just fell out of my head. It'll come back to me. Let's get back into it. Oh. You guys are killing him on the guitar, you really are. Oh, okay. I'm liking this. Okay, that part that I just paused on, I like how just the beat is carrying that part, and the guitar kind of takes a back seat, and the vocals become a little bit more prominent in the mix. I gotta say, when it comes to the mixing, it's a very different sound than the original had in terms of it feels more raw. It feels like the guitar is really the main player in the song. And that's not a bad thing. I really like everything the guitar is doing. That's like the MVP of this particular cover. By choosing to go in that particular direction and really lean on the guitar work, I think that was a good decision because I'm really digging this. I really am. I didn't know what to expect, and I felt that I was going to be perhaps a little bit judgy because The Kill is a song that I really like. It's very nostalgic for me, and there hasn't really been any cover of it that I've liked a lot. The only other person who did a decent cover of it, I would say, was Lauren Babic. But so far, I like the approach these guys are taking, and there's like a little bit of a flair and these little flourishes with the guitar during the chorus they're pretty damn cool. There's a lot of subtlety and a lot of nuance to the instrumentation. So far, so good, and so surprising. Let's continue. Yeah, I hear the beat so far. And they brought some harshness too. Oh shit, I was expecting the chorus to keep the guitar solo. Hell yes. More? Oh shit, I just got chills. This solo is fantastic. Wow, we have a little bit of harmonizing too, if you're singing. Okay, this song just hit excellent territory. I like this even more than Hellbent, and that's not to say that their original material doesn't have power and promise, but this is insanely good, guys. Like, full credit. Like, I'm I'm surprised. Look, I thought it was perfectly possible that I could listen to this song going in with high expectations, and maybe this would like just meet them. Maybe I would come away from this saying, like, okay, this was a good cover. They did a decent job. This is more than decent. I think they're doing a great job so far. That guitar solo was one of the best guitar solos I've heard in a long time. And it just kept going. I thought it was going to be one of those, like, short, like, let's just do a quick little thing kind of solo. But it wasn't. It went on for quite a while. And I love that. Bands need to do that more. We've lost a great thing in metal in modern times, in my opinion. And that is guitar soloing, being a very prominent and popular thing. I miss the days when that was more popular and, more heavily featured in songs. That needs to make a comeback, and if these guys are part of it, props to you guys. You really are truly doing a good job on this. And I'm going to comment more on the details afterward. And the harmonizing. Last time when I reacted to Bridges Ablaze, I talked a little bit about how harmonizing can be a tricky thing. Sometimes bands don't pull it off well, and they're doing it in this song. They're nailing it. And I seriously got chills when that guitar solo kicked in. Excellent stuff so far. Really. Let's finish it up. It's such a coming quality because of the guitar. Oh, nice layering there, the vocals. Okay. And I have to give credit to the video as well. It was just the band playing, but it was an engaging video. Just as high quality, just as nicely produced as the Hellbent video. So points for that too. You know, where do I begin? So when I've reacted to cover songs in the past, I've often talked about how in order to really do justice to it and really make it feel like covering the song was worth the time and worth the effort, a band should add something new or unique to it. They should really make it their own and make it stand apart from the original. And for the most part, I still think that's necessary. One thing I feel like I haven't addressed, though, is a band that does try to do that, but it deviates too much from the original and ends up feeling a little bit out of place. That's possible, too, to go in that direction. So I think it's easy to end up with either of those things happening. And so I imagine that for a musician, it's probably a really precarious process when you're recording the song to get that balance right and to make it feel like it's your band, it's your sound, and not just a complete retread of the original material, while at the same time also not straying too far from the roots of the song. And now I have to give credit to these guys because I think they pulled it off. Is it better than the original? In my opinion, the original is still the best, and I don't think that they were trying to create a necessarily objectively better version. I think they were just trying to do a kick-ass cover and put a bit of their own twist on it, and I think they did that so well. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed this one, and in ways that, once again, really surprised me. First of all, this band has two vocalists, not one, and second of all, each of their voices sounds unique and quite different than Jared Leto's, and the bite to the vocals was a bit deeper here, and I like that they let that all come out naturally, and they lean into it and really make it work for the song. Now, in terms of how the chorus is actually sung, there isn't a lot of deviation or difference when it comes to structure. And again, that's fine. I think that if they had changed that too much, especially, it wouldn't have had the same impact. But what I really, really have to give credit for here, something people were probably sitting and waiting for me to praise, is the guitar work. The fact that they added guitar soloing to this was the strongest and most effective element that made it stand out and really made it its own. Really made the song shine. And the solo was so, so well done. And it was long, too. Once again, that's a thing in modern metal that always disappoints me, is that even if there is a guitar solo, it tends to be a short one, almost as if it's an afterthought. These days, it's all about breakdowns. And I'm not knocking that. But it's just that I prefer old school guitar solos. It just take you on a bit of a journey. The guitar just starts singing and carries a major part of the song and hits you with a powerful emotion. There's something about a guitar solo that just does something for music. And so between this song and their song Hellbent, the fact that these guys are doing that and really letting guitar soloing dominate a sizable portion of their music, I think that's fantastic, and I hope they continue in that direction. And of course, the fact that it's so well done and so enjoyable to hear, that is exactly the kind of spin that I like to see on a cover song. It adds something new without taking away from what had already made it great. What had already made the original great, I should say. And speaking of the guitar, especially toward the end of the song, when the chorus repeats for the last time, what the guitar does in the background is different than how the guitar sounds on the original song. Not just when it comes down to the tuning, I'm talking about what the guitar is actually doing musically. So that's very cool as well, and it's an example of subtle differences that are just enough but not too much, if you know what I mean. Now, in fairness, I will say that there is a certain raw, piercing quality to Leto's vocals on the original, especially when he really leans into a bit of a scream toward the end of the song. And this cover doesn't quite manage to capture that. Of course, they do a little bit of harshness in their own way on this song, and for how this song sounds, it really works. But even as I miss that particular element, the way Leto did his vocals on the original, at the same time, I respect these guys for not trying to mimic Leto's approach. Again, they went with what's natural and just let their own vocal talent speak for itself. And so, yes, their particular styles of singing come across in a different way than the original, but I think it was the right approach. I've heard covers where the band tries to parrot the original singer's vocals, and it doesn't work. It's much better to work with the tools and the talent that you have naturally. And going back to the guitar, I know I'm kind of bouncing back and forth here, but on the original, I feel like the song created a certain atmosphere, right? Like, it was the cohesion of all the various musical elements working together to create a sound that felt very dramatic and almost cinematic, if that makes sense. It felt like the soundtrack to an emotional scene in a film, or like the climax of a film. You know, with this cover, I'm not saying that it wasn't cohesive, because it definitely was. But with this version of the song, once again, it's the guitar that really carries the song and really drives it. That's the sharpest and most powerful element, to my ears anyway. So the guitar is the main player here, and the vocals, I feel like, are secondary, and that's not to say that the singing wasn't good. Again, everything from each of these guys' vocal parts to the harmonization was spot on. I really liked that part, but the first and most immediate thing that came through for me when I started listening was the guitar. And I think it's probably more prominent in the mixing here than it was on the original song. On the original, I think that Jared's vocals were higher in the mix, and the guitar was a bit more buried. And it feels like these two things are sort of reversed on this cover. And while we're talking about the mixing, I commented at the beginning that the drumming felt high in the mix to me. The beats were a little bit louder than I would have expected. But when the other sounds came in, when I heard the entire thing, it ended up working. So, the fact that this guitar does something different on this version, and of course the solo, that's what really, really defines the song, in my opinion. And I like it. It all results in a bit more of a raw and more shredding kind of take on the song. So, did I think that any cover of this would be better than the original? I have to say no, because the original is, you have to say it, it's a classic, But I also have to say that this version really does hold its own, and is a solid, talented effort. And for that, I really have to commend the musical ability of these guys, and the creativity and the spark that went into this. The fact that they did it their own way, and that they pretty much nailed it, props to them for pulling that off. And again, I genuinely think that excellent is the proper word to use for this song. And it was that moment when the solo kicked in that made a world of difference. It would still have been a good cover, a good attempt to pay homage to the original, if it didn't have that part. But having that piece in there, that's what made it great, ultimately. And then, of course, the harmonizing toward the end of the song between the two vocalists, that was just like the icing on top. That was like a nice touch. So you guys did a really damn great job. Full credit to you guys. This is a band to watch. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Keep your eyes on them, because I think they're going to do great things. I really do. They have, the talent is there, and they've got a lot of promise, and I think they put a lot of passion into their music. I think it's readily apparent. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll link to their social media in a pinned comment, so check that out. Go support them. Check out their music. It's very important to support the up-and-coming bands that you love. And this band, I will look forward to hearing more material from them when they release it. So that's all I've got for you for this reaction. This was such a great experience. I'm adding this to a playlist. And much more content on the way, of course. If you're new, once again, subscribe. Give this video a like, comment down below. Check out my Patreon. And I will catch you all very soon.